indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Beagle,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Resnick is excused. Councilmember Behrman,
Present.
Councilmember Gottschall. Councilmember Gunwin Fox is excused. Councilmember O'Day. Here. Councilmember Sharp.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Perfect, thank you. Changes or additions to the agenda as presented tonight. City Manager.
I have none, sir.
Assistant City Manager.
I have none, sir.
Any from the dais? All right. That moves us to the first item of business tonight. That's a presentation, and that's a Redevelopment Ready Communities, RRC certification presentation from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, or MEDC. Assistant City Manager Benson.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, members of City Council, and members of the public, just going to give a quick kind of introduction to what it is we're doing. The Redevelopment Ready Community certification process is something that the city's been working on for many years. I think the city initially authorized a resolution to participate in the MEDC's program back in 2017. So, you know, it's a big program. There's a kind of a heavy lift to it. Included in your agenda packet, I provided just some additional information of kind of all of the criteria that are required for communities in the state of Michigan to be designated as an RRC. And really what it's all about is putting in the best practices in place to demonstrate that for people who are interested in developing in your community, that you've got the processes and procedures as well as the plans in place for them to be successful, as well as for your community to be successful at implementing what your vision is. So over the course of the last 7-8 years that we've been working on this, we've had the opportunity to do a lot of different things. We've updated our master plan in 2020. In fact, we've actually started the update process for 2025. We have adopted an updated economic development and economic development marketing strategy for the first time in 10 years, I believe. We now have a formal guide to development, public participation plan, and a variety of other things. All of these are best practices that communities are not required to do, and there are many communities in the state of Michigan who don't. But we believe, and I hope that you all kind of share our thought, that by putting these tools in place, by making ourselves redevelopment ready, we're putting ourselves in a good position. I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but essentially, now that we have met all of those criteria, we now can be designated, and I'll defer to Stephanie Pena from the MEDC, who's here to present our certification and can kind of talk about a little bit more depth of what this all means and what this means for the city kind of going forward. So I would invite you, Stephanie, to step forward.
Can you hear me okay? Yes. Okay, good evening, Mayor Beagle and esteemed City Council. Thank you for having me tonight. It's a great honor to award the City of Wixom, Michigan Economic Development Corporation's Redevelopment Ready Community Certified designation. It's a big mouthful, but my name is Stephanie Pena. As mentioned, I serve as a senior community planner at the Michigan Economic Development Corporation on the technical assistance team. It is my great honor this evening to highlight all of the great accomplishment that Wixom has undergone to achieve RRC certified designation, making it the 79th community in the state of Michigan to do so, and more notably the 7th community within Oakland County. As Drew mentioned, RRC is a voluntary technical assistance program that aims to provide Michigan communities sort of the guiding framework to encourage greater community reinvestment. So we're referring to greater community redevelopment efforts. Our RRC best practices are centered on modernizing planning, zoning, and economic development practices to ultimately ensure that the municipality's development resources are transparent and user-friendly and accessible for all. Success within RRC can be measured in a multitude of ways, even prior to actually achieving an RRC designation. When we're looking at process improvement, improved collaboration internally as well as with external partners, and ultimately making resources more public-centered and accessible for all, these are all achievements that we feel are worthwhile to celebrate within the community. And when we're looking at Wixom's past 8 years engagement with the toolkit, I can honestly say that I'm very impressed with the way that the community has thoughtfully approached the best practices to really build upon the strong economic development efforts that already exist in the community to further garner momentum for greater reinvestment within the city. Some of the great accomplishments that I would love to highlight is recognizing that the city webpage, while it's something that seems so small and little, it's something that many of our Michigan communities struggle with. The Business Resource and Tool webpage really highlights great resources for individuals who want to invest in the community, navigating any incentive process. But it's also commendable that even after adhering with that particular best practice that it relates to, the city went forth and looked towards adopting additional economic incentives to continue to make Wixom a business-friendly community. Additionally, in 2023, as mentioned, the VCA ordinance adoption, notably with the decrease of minimum dwelling units to 600 square feet in the core district, as well as allowing for variances within front yards as long as they were utilized for public spaces. These are amazing investments in order to ensure that the community is further prioritizing pedestrian-oriented and place-based development practices to continue bringing the vibrancy to the community. And lastly, most recently, and the last hurdle that the city underwent in 2024, allowing for credit card payments for development-related fees. This is an important step to ensure accessibility to development for all, especially your small-scale developers who maybe are trying to make adjustments to their property or buildings that they currently own. I do want to take a special note to recognize Assistant City Manager and Economic Development Director Drew Benson, because without his tireless efforts, the achievement would not have been accomplished. He consistently ensured that the approach of RRC was done thoughtfully and that it reflected Wixom's true redevelopment vision for the future. So moving forward, Wixom will be able to take advantage of a numerous amount of benefits, most notably a collaboration with our redevelopment services team. So the community will be able to work with a real estate expert that helps catalyze priority redevelopment sites within the community, and having that engagement alongside their direct technical assistance will be valuable in ensuring that there's some additional activation in your priority redevelopment sites. So thank you for your time, and on behalf of the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, I want to thank you again, and we look forward to our continued partnership with the City of Wixom. I'm happy to answer questions if you all have.
No question.
Okay, I'm here anytime. Feel free to reach out. But I have an award for you all and some road signs, so I don't know if you wanted to do a picture or.
Yes.
We do.
Yeah, we'll all come down and get a picture.
Yeah.
Had to go there.
We'll have a place to hang it up.
Oh, we're gonna figure it out.
So thank you for coming out, Stephanie. Appreciate the drive down. We'll look forward to seeing you and the redevelopment services team here on Thursday. And thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thanks, Drew and staff for all the hard work to achieve this great accomplishment. All right. Moving on, the next item of business tonight is the approval of minutes. We got one set of minutes to approve tonight, and that's from the regular city council meeting of February 11th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
Support.
Any discussion? All right, I got a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have two items of correspondence tonight. The first one is a letter from the Oakland County Treasurer's Office regarding their foreclosure prevention program, and a memo from Chief of Police Langmeyer about the flock safety system update and snow emergency response. Next item of business is city manager report. The first one, departmental reports 2025, January. Do we have any questions? Councilmember Behrman.
Yes, well, I guess Tim left.
No, he's in the, we can grab him real quick. He's sharing that picture.
I could talk to him after the meeting. Tim, sorry, I just was asking for an update on all the signs that were stapled to the telephone poles. Like I noticed this morning, there's still quite a few of them along Wixom Road.
We are, the height ones, we had, we need a ladder to get to them. We were working with the code enforcement to get those down, so we're trying to schedule something to get the rest of those down. I know we took them down once already, but they do come back up.
I just noticed
diligent.
this morning, driving down Maple Road to Charms, there was probably about 15 of them up, and it's just, you look a lot better if
We'll
we
get
get them
them
down sooner than later.
Yes, yep, of course. Thank you for letting us know. Other questions?
Councilmember Sher?
No, more of a comment about the code enforcement report. I hope everyone's looking at that. I think there's been a lot of improvement in this kind of the scope, the detail, the approach that Ms. Underhill's taking, learning the ordinances, and effectively, so far, in my mind, administering those ordinances to people and trying to do it in a friendly way, which I really appreciate. And then when needed, issuing citations, which gives them time to react, whoever's the offender. But I thought there was a lot of good information in there in a one-page document. I sent her a note today just thanking her for her work. But I want to keep that in mind when budget time comes and we're all aware of the work that the code enforcement officer has been doing. But kind of hard to tell in the wintertime what impact it's having right now, but hopefully in the spring we see fewer boats and RVs and tall grass and dilapidated structures and trash and signs on street lights and things like that, street poles. So I appreciate the work Drew, your team's doing, that Ms. Underhill's doing.
I know
So, thank you.
She's reviewing a number of ordinances as well, and trying to come up with some suggestions for how we can tighten those up so that we have a little bit more use on some of those. So we're
Carrying the ladder around for those
she
big
does.
signs?
No,
or what?
we've got the ladder. We're helping her with some of that stuff, but she's aggressive enough to do that too. And
She
we're
is
trying
out
to
there
help
with the
us.
pole, Tim.
Yes,
You
she
know, I
will.
think you guys helped her get the
Yeah.
pole. Just
Yep.
I've seen her out there
Wow.
chipping away at them.
Don't get electrocuted.
No,
No,
on the telephones, yeah. The electric poles, but yeah, she's aggressive.
Thank
It's
you.
been beneficial.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions? All right. Next up is the quarterly budget and investment report from September 30th, 2024. Any questions on that? Any questions on the quarterly budget investment report of December 31st, 2024? Man, you're getting off easy tonight. Consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by the city council, will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the items will be removed from the consent agenda and added to the regular agenda at the unfinished or new business. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
All right, I got a motion and a support to approve the consent agenda as presented tonight. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Brings us to the first call to the public. I'll read those rules. The rules to the call to the public are as follows. The public shall address the council during the call to the public, which shall be included on the agenda immediately after correspondence, and again immediately after new business. The first call to the public immediately after correspondence shall be limited to agenda items only. A person shall not address the council in excess of 5 minutes unless the time is extended by a majority vote of the council present. Persons wishing to address the council shall identify themselves and their place of residence and shall state their reason for addressing the council, and all comments by the public shall be made directly to the council. Do we have anybody for the first call to the public? Seeing none, I'll close the first call to the public and move on to unfinished business number 1. And that's a recommendation to approve the second reading and adoption of an amendatory ordinance to amend Title 18.00 zoning to add a new section 18.26 renewable energy facilities for the purpose of regulating renewable energy facilities, including solar, wind, and battery storage systems within the provisions of the Michigan Public Act 233 of 2023 as recommended by the Planning Commission. Do I have a motion?
Support.
Very good. Assistant City Manager Benson.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Pastelacqua with Carlisle Wortman Associates is not with us tonight, although I can certainly answer some questions about this. I'm not going to walk through the entire ordinance, but essentially this is proposing to add a new ordinance section to regulate renewable energy facilities, both what are considered utility scale, which meet certain power supply thresholds, and those that are below that. This ordinance provides regulations that are in alignment with the state's regulations or preemptions of local authority for utility scale renewable energy projects, as well as provides regulations for those that we can control with local zoning. This is accompanied by 2 later ordinance amendments. If there are any questions about this particular new ordinance, I would be happy to address them.
Do you have any questions? All right. Seeing none, I got a motion and a second to approve the recommendation to approve the second reading and adoption of an amendatory ordinance to amend Title 18.00 zoning to add a new section 18.26 renewable energy facilities for the purpose of regulating renewable energy facilities, including solar, wind, and battery storage systems within the provisions of the Michigan Public Act 233 of 2023 as recommended by the Planning Commission. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Unfinished business number 2 is a recommendation to approve the second reading and adoption of an amendatory ordinance to amend Title 18.00 zoning, Chapter 18.13, accessory buildings and uses, Sections 18.13.070 and 18.13.080 to clarify the placement and standards of solar panels and wind generators as accessory structures as recommended by the Planning Commission. Do I have a motion?
Support.
Assistant Manager Benson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be honest with you, I think your motion more or less covers the details of what this is. Just some minor amendments to the accessory structures section of the ordinance. These topics came up during Planning Commission's discussion of non-utility scale renewable energy, and they wanted to recommend some modifications to potentially promote that in certain circumstances. If there's any questions, happy to answer them.
Any questions? All right, seeing none, I got a motion and a second to approve the recommendation to approve the second reading and adoption of a mandatory ordinance to amend the Title 18.00 zoning, Chapter 18.13, accessory buildings and uses, Sections 18.13.070 and 18.13.080 to clarify the placement and standards of solar panels and wind generators as accessory structures as recommended by the Planning Commission. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And that moves us on to new business number 3, and that's a recommendation to approve the second reading and adoption of an amendatory ordinance to rezone the tax parcel numbers as listed to include the renewable energy zoning overlay as recommended by the Planning Commission. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Again, Mr. Benson.
Thank you, Mayor. Last one from me tonight. This is the secondary component to the addition of Chapter 18.26 for renewable energy. Essentially, what this rezoning will do is rezone 9 parcels to also include the renewable energy overlay while maintaining their underlying zoning district. The one thing I do want to point out is that the original version that we had presented of this ordinance at your past meeting I did have it misstated, and it was specifically referencing the M1 Light Industrial Zoning District. In fact, 2 parcels are currently zoned M2, and 1 is zoned IRO. So the ordinance language was clarified to just include the renewable energy overlay, and we are not changing the underlying zoning district. This is in alignment with what Planning Commission originally approved and what the intent has been, but I did want to make sure that you guys recognize that minor text change. With that, I'd be happy to answer any additional questions.
Any questions? All right, seeing none, I got a motion and a second to approve the recommendation to approve the second reading and adoption of an amendatory ordinance to rezone tax parcel numbers as listed to include the renewable energy zoning overlay as recommended by the Planning Commission. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Very good. We have no new business tonight, so that brings us to the second call to the public. I won't read the rules, but they're the same as before, only you can come up and speak whatever's on your mind. So do we have anybody for the second call to the public? Seeing none, I'll close the second call to the public and move on. City Manager comments. City Manager Brown.
Thank you, Your Honor. On the city manager update, we just had the work anniversaries for employees ranging from 29 years for Melissa Harrison in Parks and Recreation to 1 year. Just wanted to recognize those employees and thank them for their service, and that's all that I had on the city manager update for this council meeting.
Assistant City Manager Benson.
Just one comment from me tonight. It's mentioned in my monthly report, and I apologize if I mentioned this at your previous meeting, but I do want to let members of City Council know that we do have a public hearing scheduled for next Monday's Planning Commission meeting to consider a Sheetz gas station. I know I don't normally bring up Planning Commission public hearings outside of our regular reports, but given that this is a popular topic, I want to make sure that we're communicating to you all and to the public that this public hearing is scheduled. If anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate to send them to the building department. Happy to answer any questions, and we encourage everyone to come out and participate in that public hearing if they are so inclined. That's all I have.
Very good. Council comments. Councilmember Sharp.
Thank you, Mayor. I just had one today. I had a request from our corporate, one of our corporate citizens, Natera North America on Magellan Drive. They're having a blood drive March 5th, and I bring this up because last year I donated blood there. I was just looking for a drive in the area, and I saw one in Wixom, and I went down and gave. And I thought, here's all these businesses in Wixom I didn't even know were there, and there they are. And one of the people, the coordinators of the blood drive, contacted me, asked if I would give a shout out at the meeting tonight, and I said I would. So March 5th at Natera on Magellan Drive, just off of Beck Road, one of our Wixom corporate citizens, and they've been involved in other things in the community. So thank them for their continued support of Wixom's activities and being a good corporate citizen. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Very good. Councilmember O'Day.
I don't have a ton, just kind of reiterating even before we started, thanking Mr. Sigma for all the good work that his department's been doing, especially the past couple weeks. Hope, it's always so nice. You wake up and look outside, and then you go to leave, and your street's already plowed. It's an amazing department. So, and very needed this time of year. And hopefully today is a sign that things are going in the right direction. So thank you.
Very good. Councilmember Gatchel.
Thank you. I wanted to first thank the Assistant City Manager and all of our other staff and board members that worked on getting us RRC certified. I know on council we voted on a few things here and there, but the heavy lifting was not ours by any stretch. So thank you for that work. Even though the police chief isn't here, I wanted to put it on the record, thank him for his report since I asked for both of those. I know hopefully we don't have any more snow emergencies this year, my fingers are crossed, but it seems that like our police get preoccupied with accidents that happen, and maybe we can't always go write tickets or help out with parking. I don't know if we ever bring in extra police in those situations, but something that kind of crossed my mind. Also thinking about the seamless gutter signs that go up, I'm not sure if we've thought of trying to use the flat cameras to compare license plate numbers to try and track them down? Because I know business-wise, they don't seem to have an address or much of a presence other than just being a nuisance. So that was one thing that kind of crossed my mind. Regarding the earlier comment about the Sheets hearing, shouldn't there have been, I know it's not necessarily a full rezoning, I don't think, but they would be requesting special land use grant?
That is correct.
Wouldn't we normally require like a notice sign to have been put up at the property?
I do not believe our special land uses don't require the signage. Rezonings do, and I believe that's specified in the ordinance. I don't think rezoning or special land uses do.
Okay. Maybe if we can just double check that, because I know that has been, I forget the name of the neighborhood, but off of Maple, that was one of the chief complaints, was people felt like there was something shady going on because there was no sign up, so they heard through Facebook or whatever else, and I want to make sure that obviously we're communicating to the best of our ability, and if a sign should have gone up, then we need to make sure it did and restart if we didn't. Other than that, thank you.
You're welcome. Councilmember Behrman.
I'll echo most everybody else's comments. The only thing I'll add, I believe the website used to have like a tab at the bottom for public notices, but I don't know if it's there anymore, because the other day I was looking for a public notice or looking to see if something was published, and I didn't see that circle at the bottom where public notices used to be. So maybe that got changed in the revamp. Might just be something to look into for clarity purposes. But the only thing I really wanted to add is just thank you to the Parks and Rec department. My 3 daughters had an awesome time at the daddy-daughter dance last week, and they even supposedly got me to dance. So.
Very good. All right, I just want to congratulate and thank the workers that are celebrating their work anniversaries with us. Thank you for your service. We appreciate it. And also, my fellow council members up here, please get to me sometime with some dates before April 10th, and we can do a goal setting meeting, and then think about up to 3 goals that you would like to see and how they can be implemented in that. And then also watch your emails. There'll be a packet coming out pretty soon with information on the evaluation of City Manager Brown. And with that,
Mayor, if I can cut you off real quickly.
sure.
Just-
You're not getting out of it.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of it. No, I'm just teasing. In regard to Councilmember Behrman's comment, the public notice thing might be relocated. It's in the center of the page in the blue circles on the right-hand side on the home page.
I could see it on my cell phone, but I guess maybe I was just looking in a different location
Maybe so.
on my work computer.
Because we just checked it out online right here, so I shouldn't say we, city clerk will call.
So it's like the Sheets public hearing is noticed there? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And we do, just as an ad, we, some time ago, we now add them to the Friday News Blast as well. So there's a whole section that links you to current public notices, including our bids and other public hearing notices, so.
I just, yeah, we're doing our best to get it out. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Anything else?
No, sir.
Sure.
Positive.
All right, with that, motion to adjourn? Support. I got a motion and a support to adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, everybody.